average hippo is born about 85 pounds, and you need everyone seated at all times for me. And then down there on the left, those are Nile crocodiles. Nile crocodiles can grow to be as long as a giraffe is tall. That is about 20 feet long. They're also cold-blooded animals. They get that extra hindrance having to regulate their own body temperature, which they'll do in a couple of ways. You might have seen some down in the water. That is the first and more obvious way that they can cool off. They can go for a swim just like us. But if they don't want to get wet, they do have another alternative option. They can stay on the bank and stay dry. All they have to do is open those mouths of theirs. They will release enough body heat just from opening those mouths to significantly reduce that body temperature. It's a good thing I don't have that ability because my mouth is open almost this entire trip, so I'd be pretty chilly by the end of it. Now that strange looking tree over there on the right, that's a baobab tree. Also nicknamed the upside down tree for obvious reasons, as those branches do tend to look more like roots than like actual branches. Now those branches can go up to 9 months out of the year without any leaves on them at all. Definitely doesn't help their case when they're trying to look like branches. Now we're headed down to the Savannah and Serengeti grasslands. Here on the Savannah, a lot of the animals actually give birth at night, so we probably won't see any live births out here today. The reason for that is because those mothers want that extra cover of darkness present as they wean and clean those young for the very first time. It is also a great opportunity for those young to take their very first steps and learn to walk, as most animals will need to take those first steps within their first hour or two of being born, or else their herds will move on without them. The wildebeest, for instance, have to take their first steps within just 15 minutes of being born. You thought your kids grew up too fast. Now also on the Savannah, a lot of the prey species will learn one another's alarm calls. That way it doesn't matter which species of prey sees that predator first. Once that alarm call has been sounded, all of the other prey species that recognize that call will know that it's probably a good time to take off running, helping them to minimize their casualties across all of the prey species. Now there's a cave over there on the left, and actually if you look to the right of the cave, you'll see some tails flapping around over there. Those belong to the African wild dogs. Now they're not hyenas, believe it or not, they're not even related to the hyena. They're also called painted dogs because of those beautiful coats that they have. Now each coat is unique, so they can recognize each other from far away based solely off of those coats, and they're considered the most successful hunters in all of Africa. The reason they're so successful is because they hunt as a pack, and they'll just run after their prey until their prey can't take another step. When it gives up and lies down, that's when those dogs will jump. Now the dark brown antelope you'll see over there on the left behind that termite mountain, those are the sable antelopes. They're the official emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. So you might have seen some outlines, images, or silhouettes of them on the way in today. That would be why. Now those pelts will get darker as they get older. Some of the oldest males have been seen being as dark as jet black. Now over here on the left, you'll see some Patterson's eland. Now the eland is the largest of the antelope species, with the males becoming as tall as 6 feet tall at just their shoulder. So that one eating off of the ground over there on the left, that is a fully grown female. And then these two smaller ones on the other side of these trees, these are little baby Patterson's elands. From a standing, non-moving position, the Patterson's eland can actually leap as high as 8 feet vertically in the air. And 50% of the entire eland population actually has to live on protected land for conservation purposes, while the other 50% of them can still roam free and wild. Over on the right, on the other side of those grasses, you'll see some grayish-black animals. Those are white-bearded wildebeest. 1.5 million wildebeest will migrate across the savannas of Africa every single year. Then the smaller cinnamon brown-colored animals a little bit further back, those are springboks. They are among the top 10 fastest land animals in the entire world, reaching speeds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. And then we are also going to get very close to some Maasai giraffes. Just make sure we're not making any animal sounds at them. They are very much wild animals, and although they do have their own vocalizations, we can't make them.